Have you ever had one of those days or, one of those months where you're just completely drained by your work, but you're not actually overworked? Well, today, we're going to be a fly on the wall for the exact conversation where that feeling led to a huge breakthrough. This is the story of how a powerful new idea was born from a simple, shared frustration. Let's get into it. It all started right here. This single statement is the heart of the whole thing. It's that feeling that it's not about how much you work, but what kind of work you're doing. This one sentence, really born out of total frustration, was the spark for everything that came next. So, picture this, a team meeting. The leader, a guy named Bull, finally just comes out and says what's been bothering him. It's not about the company, it's not the clients, it's this deep, fundamental frustration. He knows he's good at his job, but there are parts of it that are just sucking the life out of him, killing his energy. So to try and figure this out, Bull and his team did what a lot of us would do. They tried to map it out. They decided to break down how work gets done. They didn't have the answers yet, so they just started with a super simple 3-part framework they thought could apply to pretty much any project. Okay, so here's their first draft. Super straightforward, right? First, you've got ideation. That's where the idea is born. Then you've got implementation. That's where you actually do the work. And then, crucially, they added this middle step they called activation. So why that middle step? Well, as one of the team members, Lynn, pointed out, you can't just jump straight from a cool idea to building it. That's a recipe for disaster. You need a bridge. You need a filter to make sure the idea is actually good before people start pouring time and energy into it. So they've got this nice, neat 3-stage model. It makes sense, it's logical. But just when they're getting comfortable, a single question from another team member, Amy, starts to pull a thread that unravels the whole thing. And this, right here, is where it gets really interesting. This is the moment. This is the wrench in the works. Amy says, hey, that ideation box you put me in, it doesn't quite fit. She's good at the big picture thinking, but she's not the one inventing things from scratch like Bull is. And suddenly, their simple model has a huge puzzle it just can't solve. And just like that, a light bulb goes off for the whole team. They realize their category of ideation is way too broad. It's like calling a point guard and a center both just basketball players. I mean, yeah, it's true, but it misses the whole point. Amy's comment forced them to zoom in. And here comes the big aha moment from Lynn. She realizes they've been skipping the actual first step. Before anyone can invent a solution, someone has to notice the problem. Someone has to wonder, to ask the right questions, to identify a need. That's where it all truly begins. This one insight just starts a chain reaction. Suddenly, they realize if ideation is actually 2 different things, then maybe activation is 2 things too. And maybe implementation is as well. Their simple 3-stage model just explodes into a much richer, more nuanced 6-part framework of what they would soon start calling geniuses. Okay, so a new theory is one thing, but does it actually hold up in the real world? To find out, the team immediately decided to test it. They took this brand new 6-part model and applied it to a real client pitch they just worked on for a company called Reno Corp. This is where it goes from abstract to totally concrete. So they looked back at that project. How did it kick off? It wasn't with Bull inventing some brilliant new campaign. Nope. It started with Amy, the same person who questioned their model, just wondering. She was asking these simple but powerful questions about why things were the way they were. And that, right there, gave them a name for the very first genius, the genius of wonder. This is Amy's superpower. It's that natural gift for pondering, for questioning the status quo, and for spotting opportunities and problems that everyone else is just walking right past. So what comes after wonder? Well, Bull takes Amy's question and just runs with it. This is where we see the second genius pop up, invention. He's the guy creating mock-up ads, coming up with slogans, dreaming up partnerships. He's literally creating something new out of thin air. But Bull's ideas don't just go straight to the client. That would be chaos. This is where Lynn comes in. And listen how she describes her role. It's not about creating, it's about evaluating. She has that gut instinct to see which ideas have legs and which ones don't. And this leads them straight to the third genius, discernment. This is Lynn's gift. It's that absolutely critical skill of using intuition, recognizing patterns, and just having good judgment to say, yes, that's it, or no, that's close, but it needs work. It's the quality control for ideas.
Okay, so now they have this new language: wonder, invention, discernment. And with these new tools, they can finally circle all the way back to the question that started this whole deep dive. Why was Bull so frustrated and drained in the first place?
And they land on this absolutely profound insight. This is a game changer, right? There is a massive difference between something you're good at, your competence, and your genius, which is something that not only are you good at, but it gives you energy and joy. And mistaking one for the other is a fast track to burnout.
And here it is, from Bull himself. He finally puts his finger on the exact thing that's been draining him. It's a skill they later call galvanizing, that ability to rally the troops and get them excited to take action. He can do it, he's even good at it, but it just empties his tank. It's not his genius.
And this brings it all home for us. What's the real cost when you're forced to operate outside of your genius? It's not just about having a bad day at the office. It seriously impacts your happiness, your performance, and your ability to make your best, most unique contribution. So, after this whole journey, the team finally lands on a clear definition. A working genius, it's not just a talent. It's that perfect sweet spot where your natural gifts intersect with the work that genuinely fills you with joy and energy. It's what you were practically built to do. And there it is, mystery solved. Bull's frustration wasn't random. It was a mismatch. The work that gave him energy, his true geniuses, were invention and discernment. But his job was forcing him to spend way too much time galvanizing, a skill that, for him, was a total energy drain. And this is the final, powerful takeaway for all of us. When you spend all your time on work that drains you, even if you get it done, there's a huge opportunity cost. It doesn't just make you miserable, it actively stops you and your team from getting the very best of what you have to offer. So this whole story, which started with one person's burnout, leaves us with a really important question for ourselves. Think about your own week, your own job. What are the tasks that make you feel alive, that give you energy? And what are the ones that leave you feeling completely wiped out? The answer to that, well, that might just be the key to finding your own working genius.